Good morning. All right, I must apologize. I got on with the private group. I thought that was going to work, and that didn't work. I was sitting here waiting and watching, didn't see anyone jump on. So okay, I guess I have to come on here and do it this way. So I'd like to say good morning to everyone who is here. I'd like to say good morning to everyone who will maybe look at this a little bit later. I am Dr. Thomas Bashard Easley, here early, time with the doc, and so we're going to go into what we're going to be talking about today. Good morning. All right. So, all right, people are jumping on. Okay, here we go. It's getting good. I love when I see this. I love when I see people getting on. Good morning to Letha. What's going on? And I love being able to reconnect with folks while other people are jumping on. Just let me tell you a little bit about my week. I had a wonderful week, especially the end of the week. I just came back from Minnesota yesterday, and why am I saying Minnesota like that? See, I was up there, I guess, a little too long. I was supposed to be back Friday. Didn't get back until yesterday. So I've always had some interesting things that's been happening to me here recently on all these trips that I go on. But it felt so good to connect with the people, with the brothers and the sisters that I was connecting with. And so I'm here with you all today. So let's get started. So at Peace Church that I lead, we're doing a series right now. We started it 2 weeks ago, and we're going to be continuing it. And what it's called is College Students That Follow Jesus. And the first week, we took a lot of questions from the students there, and we answered them. It was like, I think, 12 questions, and it was just a blessing how it all worked out. The second Sunday, which was last Sunday, we talked about college students study to show yourself approved, and we used the celebration of Valentine's Day as an example of how something can change over time, and by the time you get a hold of it, because you may not know its origins, then as things are happening now, you could potentially kind of overreact to something. And since we were talking about Valentine's Day, we were talking about the fact that people who probably can get emotionally drained or upset if they don't receive anything for Valentine's Day. And so we talked about we actually talked about how if you don't get anything for Valentine's Day, it's not a bad thing, because Valentine's itself wasn't even about romance when it started off. And so, when people start learning new things, they go, oh, I didn't know that. And then we talked about the word sin and how sin wasn't just simply a bad act or something. It was the thing that separated me from you, but more importantly, it separated you from God. And so it's not just an act like what some people try to say, like a certain lifestyle is one thing, which is not true. To say like just telling a lie that's not true. It's the thing that separates me from God. And of course that changes depending on the person that we're talking about. And so today, what we're going to be talking about is college students, but we can take that out. You can insert yourself right there. If you follow Jesus, if you like Jesus, want to be like Jesus, believe in Jesus, you demonstrate integrity. Okay, so we're talking about that, demonstrating integrity. And the scripture that we're coming from, we're basically going to use two scriptures, but they're both in Matthew 5. Both are in Matthew 5. And so for the sake of what we're doing today, and for the short amount of time, I'm going to focus on the second half of what we're doing, because that's basically, like what it's really about. So Matthew 5:33 through 37 says, again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no, and anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Okay, so what I like about this, and I want to say hello to everybody else who's recently logged on. I appreciate you all for being here, and so thank you. And I'm just going to continue with the presentation. So I'm not trying to ignore you, but I'm definitely going to get through this. And so one of the things that we're going to ask the students is, do you get upset when people say they're going to do something and then they don't do it? Now, I'm sure a lot of us out there, that gets to us. Do you get upset when people say they're going to do something and then they don't do it? And then I'm going to ask them this question. Well, when you make a promise and you don't follow through, do you want mercy? So if you say you're going to do something, but then you end up not doing it, don't you want mercy? And so we're going to address, like, I think that for a lot of us, there's a difference between what we say and what we feel like, or there's a difference between what you signed up for versus what you think you should be doing. What you signed up for versus what you think you should be doing. And then I'm going to take them back to something that happened to me years ago. People who know me very closely, very well, and know how much I love Mother Africa, they probably have heard this story before, but like my first trip, because I've been to Africa a few times, my first trip to Ghana, West Africa, and I'll never forget it, because it was one of those pivotal moments or transformational moments, or or a significant moment, in time where it's almost like you're kind of moving on a path and then you come to a stop. And when you come to that stop, it's one of those things that makes you just kind of pay attention. So I met this brother. My class and I, we were out on a tour, and the tour guide was doing their thing. And, out there, people talk to you, they speak to you. I love when I'm there, because it's so relaxing, it's so freeing, and it's very peaceful. And another thing I love about being there, I'll be honest, is that I don't have to worry about or think about blackness, because there, at least in that country, that's mainly what you see. So it's definitely it's a wonderful experience. And run into this brother, and we're just having a good conversation. He's walking on the trail with us, and I say to him, no, he says to me, hey, why don't we do dinner? Right? And he says it, and I said, sure, yeah, that's a good idea. And, oh, yeah, when? Well, I'll be back at the hotel, at this time, and I'm in this room, and, you come by and we'll go out. Now, if you know me, you know that I don't like to disappoint people. Some people may call it people pleasing. I'm not a people pleaser, but I'm not now, but I don't like to disappoint people. But I'm also at the point in my life where I'm doing so much that if I just in passing say, yeah, I'll do something, it's like, hold up, wait a minute. Like, does he really intend to do that? Because anyone who knows me knows that when I also say that I'm going to do something, if you can look at me sometimes, you can see the wheels turning in my head, like I'm making a plan to accomplish it, like I'm going to do it. Another thing that I do is I pull out my phone and I put an appointment in my phone, because sometimes, like, if I'm I see you out in Target or something, and we're having a good conversation, and you say, yeah, Thomas, send me this email, do this, do that. I go, yeah, sure. If I don't put it in my phone to do it or send a reminder to myself some kind of a way, or do it right there on the spot, there is a chance that I won't do it. There's a chance that I won't do it. And so anyway, going back to the story, about 6 o'clock that evening, I think. Because that was probably like close to dinner time or something. I was getting ready to, I got myself cleaned up, dressed. I was getting ready to go and get with the students or something. And when I opened my door, the brother's about to knock on my door, and it's like, oh, snap. Yo, what's up? And I promise you, I bet you the look in my face was almost like a look of the first time that the brother saw me. Or the first time that I saw him, like, who are you? What are you doing here? And he was like, oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm here. We said we were going to do dinner, such and such. And I was like, oh, that's right. And right then, I could tell he knew that I had either A, forgotten, wasn't really serious, set it aside, didn't really make plans to do it. And that's what started the conversation that he and I needed to have, and what I realized about myself. I don't want to talk about anyone else, because I just want to talk about me at this moment, because I can talk about me. What I recognized was that I have kind of allowed myself to, how can you say, become comfortable with, in essence, BSing people. I've allowed myself to become comfortable with not being intentional with my words and what I'm claiming that I'm going to do. I just kind of conveniently go, oh yeah, sure, and then keep going, instead of sitting down, giving my full attention to what I said that I was going to do, and then following through. Now, if you know anything about, you can say Jewish culture or Judaism, it's good to see more people. What's going on, Ms. Sanders? Whenever we study, and I'm coming at this from a Christ follower perspective, or AKA Christian perspective, and it's very important that as a Christian, that if we can pay attention to what happened in the Old Testament, because that stuff is very relevant. Okay, paying attention to what happened in the Old Testament, and the scripture that we just read in Matthew 5, okay, starting at verse 33, really goes back to Deuteronomy 23:23, which is in the Torah. And I'm going to read it. It says, whatever your lips utter, you must be sure to do, because you made your vow freely to the Lord your God with your own mouth. So what I noticed about myself when connecting with this brother over in Ghana is that I had become accustomed to misusing oaths. I had become accustomed to basically giving false oaths. And if you know anything about Judaism, when you do that, you actually are taking God's name in vain. Because in order to make an oath, you're making an oath either in front of a witness, but you're really making an oath between you, that person, and God. And so the point of that passage is to talk about integrity. And so let me read this. Jesus observes that since God witnesses every word we say anyway, we should be able to tell the truth without having to call God to witness by a form of oath. So Jesus is addressing a popular abuse of oaths in his day. Now, this is another big thing. When we lightly commit ourselves to meet people at particular times and then unnecessarily delay them as if their time were a commodity less precious than our own, we treat them unjustly and deceitfully, even if it's in a relatively minor way. So this makes me think about if I ask someone to tell me just tell me like a common lie that you don't like, right? And then I could say, now tell me, and I don't like to use the term because I don't really think that is appropriate, but a lot of people would say like a little white lie or like a white lie. And in essence, really a lie is a lie. Now we can add an adjective in front of it, in front of the verb, in front of the action, but a lie is a lie. And it depends on what side of the situation or the relationship that you're sitting on. If you're the person that told the lie, you usually don't want to be called a liar. But if you're alternative fact, oh my gosh, y'all crazy. Don't get me started. But if you're the person who's experiencing the lie, it's definitely different, right? And I think everybody in the world has sat on both sides of the table. Everybody in the world has sat on both sides. We've either been the one who has said that we were going to do something and weren't able to do it, or we have had someone tell us that they're going to do something and then they don't follow through. And this is why it's very important for us to check ourselves, because a lot of times what happens is we will respond or react to someone else doing it to us. We just don't respond or react when we're doing it to other people. Okay. And so that's where the hypocritical part comes in, because we do it and we don't check ourselves. We don't want you to check us. But when someone else does it, we want to bring a lot of attention to it, and we want to and we want to call them out, and we want to make them feel as bad as we feel. And so the thing that like a lot of us, like, I think that when you're going to that point, it's like you don't want people to disappoint you. I feel that, but recognizing that we also can disappoint other people. And so, and the fact that we're doing this on a college campus is really big, because students in particular, but adults, period, because adults, hey, everybody's a student just like everybody's a teacher, everybody's a child. I think everybody can be an adult if you live to a certain point of age. But students, a lot of times, at least from my experience, overcommit themselves. they overcommit, and then when it's time to show and prove, when they overcommit, that's when they want mercy. Like, oh man, I can't do this, such and such and such and such. So it's like they have excuses. And then that's when professors or authority figures, advisors, and other people, they get agitated with the students, And so what we're going to talk about is, how do we show integrity? Like, we're just going to deal with how do we show integrity? And the 3 words, we're going to kind of break them down. And even in the short time, I do believe that we could really put a sermon to all 3 words if we really wanted to. As I've been told before, sometimes I can pack a lot of stuff into something really short, and really I can unpack it more if I really wanted to, or I took the time to. So 3 words. The first word is congruent or congruency. The second word is commit or commitment. And the third word is covenant. Covenant, all right? So let's look at congruency. And this is me. I got to call myself out on this too, because like I said, I've not been perfect either. If you didn't do what you said you were going to do, doesn't that make you a liar? To another person, it could. Like, it's like, okay, usually you're probably not a liar to somebody who understands the dynamics or the factors that impact your time and your actions. But to other people, you don't have that luxury usually if they don't know you. So one of the things that I love to always tell people is do what you say you're going to do. Just do it. Do what you say you're going to do. Now, it could be something as simple as, if I'm going to meet you at this time, show up there, get there early, so on and so forth. Now, here's the reason why it's important for you to do what you say you're going to do. Because when you do what you say you're going to do, you don't have to worry about the outcome. That's what is so great about it. You don't have to worry about the outcome. It's similar to when Dr. Charles Stanley talks about us being obedient to God. And so, like, if you've been charged to do something, or you say that you're going to do it, when you're obedient, you don't have to deal with the consequences. You let God deal with the consequences. So that's the thing. When you do what you say you're going to do, you don't have to worry about the outcome. Exactly. And then people start to trust you because they start to see what your actions are. That's why then, like, let's say, like, if you do 20 actions great and you do something that, let's say, it could be minor, wrong or bad, usually people don't even, they usually kind of gloss over it because they feel like they know your character. They're like, no, like in my case, Thomas is going to get it done. You know, we can put it in his hands and it's going to turn to gold. you know, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about something this week. My colleague and I, we were traveling together, and he talks about aware users of, like, say, parks and recreation. Like, we're trying to talk about how come we don't get certain communities of people that come and use these resources. And he was talking about how you have aware users and you have non-aware users, people, you know, so you have different combinations of that. And what was great is, like, you want to turn all your non-aware people to the aware users. And the guy we're talking to was like, AU, you know, AU is gold on the periodic table. And I'm like, ooh. So I just kind of like to use that a little bit. And I was like, yeah, when you do what you say that you're going to do, when you're aware of what you're doing and you're aware of what you said, when you touch something, it usually is going to turn to gold. Which also means that if you're the golden person, you don't have to overreact to another person because you also stay focused on you. Because when you do what you say that you're going to do, sometimes you can almost see when someone is not going to do something, even when they say that they're going to. And because I deal with students all the time, sometimes I can tell you when I know, like, if a student promises to do something usually too quickly, I go, it's probably not going to get done. I hope that it will, but I'm like, it's probably not going to get done because they said that too fast, you know. So the other thing is, when you do what you say that you're going to do, it's going to be easier for you to see yourself as the other person. Or try to see another person as yourself. Because as you're accomplishing things and doing what you say that you're going to do, you can start to see what's going on with them because you're not reacting to them. You're actually paying attention. When you do what you say that you're going to do, it's easier for you to pay attention to more things that are going on around you. Because remember, you don't have to worry about anything. You did your part. And you can start to be a little bit more aware and notice what's happening and notice the impact that you're having on people. And you can also pay attention to the impact that they're having on you. The next one, which is a big one, commitment. Commitment. Now, here's the thing about commitment that's so interesting, especially as a Christ follower. Commitment is not about convenience or perfection. But that's, I think, why people struggle with commitment. We think that, okay, if I can't do it, if it feels like it's going to be inconvenient, then I don't need to do it. And since there may be an ideal way the person thinks it should be done, so I don't need to try to do it. But commitment is not about convenience or perfection. Commitment is about doing what you can do. That's what it's about. Do what you can do. Okay, if you sign up for this position, if you say that you're going to do it, the only thing you can do is do your best. Do what you can do. Now, the other thing about doing what you can do that people also need to understand, needs to be a part of everything, is communication. And I have learned this the hard way, and lately in the last few years I've learned it the soft way because I haven't really messed up too much. And I also think that when people have a business, or when your money is tied to your words and what you do business wise, they understand this, because they understand that good business comes from having a good reputation. And you can get a lot more done when you have a good reputation, because more people want to work with you. If they don't want to work with you, it's going to be hard for you to get something done. But when you can communicate to other people your moves, your ideas, and your concerns, you make it easier for people to stay committed to you. And then that way, if you can't do something because you've given me so far in advance a heads up with things that are going on with you, I don't feel like you're a liar, and I don't feel like you're not doing something. I feel more so like, okay, good, because I understand what's happening. It's like I'm in tandem with you. I'm walking with you. You know, so I'm doing things with you. I'm walking alongside you. The reason, exactly, and the person just put it up. The other reason that convenience, that commitment is not about convenience, because a lot of times it's about sacrifice. But I think we need to check what we mean when we say sacrifice. Let me explain it to you, because we only got like 7 minutes left. If I say that I'm going to do something for somebody, and I want to do it, but it happens at a time that's not convenient, this is the truth for me. That's not a sacrifice to me. Okay? Because I made the choice to do it, and I really wanted to do it. A sacrifice to me is when I do something that I don't want to do. So I'm sacrificing something. I'm sacrificing my comfort. I'm sacrificing it's like I'm kind of sacrificing my will. I'm sacrificing my desire, because I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to do it. And that's why I kind of check how I use the word sacrifice. You see, because in my opinion, if I'm doing what I want to do, I'm not sacrificing anything. Okay, I'm just making space so that I can do what I need to do for you. Whether it's inconvenient or not, I'm happy that I did it, because I said that I was going to do it. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And then the last one is covenant. And this is one where I'm going to invite you to go read something, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you believe in the Bible or not. I just want you to read it. If you can look up, greetings, look up, you can go to BibleGateway.com if you have a Bible, or, look up Joshua 9. Joshua 9. So as I do that, let me go back to covenant. So covenant. Here's the thing about covenant, though. You don't try to hold another person to your standard. You just hold yourself to your standard. That's the thing. You can't hold another person to your standard, because they're not you. Okay? That's why it's so important for you to focus on you. And the more that you do that, you won't overreact when another person breaks an oath. Here again, because you're focused on you. But because you appreciate what you said and the tie that you just made with that person, you will govern yourselves as best as you can throughout the engagement, throughout the interaction. Now, here's the thing. Joshua 9 really shows how God honors covenant. And why? Because in Joshua 9, let me just set it up a little bit. So the children of Israel were told that they were supposed to take over the promised land. And there were numerous people in the promised land, but the one group that they really were supposed to wipe out were the Canaanites. And what happened was that in Joshua 9, what you see is that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Now, don't get caught up in, is this about war? This is about murder? No, just focus on the fact that this is about covenant. And this is about doing what you were supposed to do so that you can get what you were supposed to get. And there's a group called the Gibeonites. And what they did was they were cunning. They really tricked Joshua and tricked the rest of the children of Israel by basically making themselves look like they were broken down, and that they were old, and that they needed help, instead of looking like the vibrant people able to fight that they really were. And then they found out later, and so they found out later that they were lying to them, and what happened was that impacted the way that they were to take to run in the land, and how they were supposed to rule in that land. And so, but because they made a promise to them already that they would take care of them and keep them alongside them, okay, Joshua was like, we can't touch them. We can't do anything, we can't do anything to them, because we already said what we were going to do. Now, keep in mind that in that case, that will probably be considered a sacrifice, because we're doing something that we don't want to do, but because our word is our bond and our word ties to who we are, we have to see this through. Now, some people may try to take that and tie that to marriage and say, like, shouldn't we do that in a marriage? Tie that and apply it to a number of other things. I'm not here to argue that, or I'm not here to talk about that, but I am here to just talk about showing integrity is being able to do what you said that you were going to do. So the Israelites did it. They said, hey, we're not going to hurt you. You know, this is what we're going to do. But what they did do is, because you lied to us, we can't give you access to everything. So we have to keep you in the servant's position. So it's like you can't come up here now because you already tricked us. You see? And I think that that's the thing that I like about the approach, is that even though they recognize that they are doing something that they don't want to do, they're going to honor their word, but they understand that they can't honor the word the way that they wanted to, or the way that they were planning to, because these folks already dishonored us in the way that they came at us. So we have to create a dynamic that works for all of us so that we can exist in this relationship. And that's what they did. So I'll close out with this. As I said, if you want to know the 3 ways of how to show integrity, is, you remember the first one was congruency, doing what you say that you're going to do. The next one is commitment. Okay, doing what you say that you're going to do, but communicating throughout the process. Because see, that's the whole thing. It's about relationships. So that means that we can communicate and inform other people of our moves, our ideas, and our concerns. That the reason that shows commitment is because that means you're inviting me into your process. I see what you're doing. So if something goes a different way, I'm not overreacting to it, not going my way, because I know what's happening and I knew that it was going to change. And then last but not least is covenant. So when we say that we're going to do something, okay, is to not to remember, don't hold another person to your standard. But if I make a covenant with you saying that I'm going to do something, then I need to do it. And in essence, the word is reciprocation. And it's one of those things that I love to ask people all the time. Okay, if you don't like when somebody does something, the question I have for you is, do you do it? And then if you do it, I go, then why are you mad because they did it? Are you if you did it and then you're upset, doesn't that make you a hypocrite? So it's like, look, don't get mad at them. Okay, check yourself. And then the more you check yourself, it will probably create more capacity for you to have compassion. Because at least, I'm not saying let people run over you and do you wrong, but at least you understand where they're coming from, and you can demonstrate for them what it is that you would like to have them do. Okay, so I'm going to run because I got to get ready for church. I thank all of you all for jumping on. I thank you all for the positive comments. We had a lot of positivity today, so I like that. I guess I want to run while I'm ahead, right? But it's Dr. Thomas Rashad Easley. You can follow me on RashadEasley.com. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/RASHAADI. On Facebook, Rashad Easley. We're on Instagram. We're on, I said YouTube, we're on Twitter, okay? Rashad Ease, Instagram, Rashad Ease, RASHADEAS. So I appreciate you all. Hey, thank y'all for staying in there with me. Hope you got something from it. And the other reason why I want you to follow me online is because I have the slideshow that goes along with it. So when we do a sermon at Peace Church, we also put the sermons up too, so you can follow along and you can look at the presentation. Because just to show you, the thing that I'm up here looking at is I'm looking at this, okay? So you see what it is that I'm doing, and, trying to keep myself in check and in line with you all, okay? God bless you all. Let's continue to work to treat each other better, because the world, I know my country needs it, the U.S., but the whole world needs it. And, hey, we need to do a better job of a lot of things as well as world citizens. So God bless. I do believe God loves you, and I have to work to be a better man every day. I hope you all do the same. Peace.